Life is loud. From the moment you open your eyes, the world rushes in, notifications buzzing, responsibilities waiting, thoughts already racing ahead to what needs to get done. There's noise everywhere. Not just the kind that comes through your ears, but the kind that lives inside your head and heart. The pressure to keep up. The comparison that never stops. The worries that whisper at you. The expectations of others, and the expectations you place on yourself. It's constant. And if you're honest, it's exhausting. Somewhere in the middle of it all, your soul begins to feel the weight. It starts to ache. Not for more things to do, but for a place to be still. Not for more answers, but for presence. For peace. For God. You don't always notice it at first. You move through your day on autopilot, responding, reacting, running from one moment to the next. But underneath all the noise, there's a whisper. A quiet longing that doesn't go away. A part of you that's craving something deeper, something truer, something sacred. And maybe you haven't had time to slow down and really listen. Or maybe you're afraid of the silence, unsure of what you'll find in the stillness. But your soul is whispering something you can no longer ignore. I need rest. I need God. This is your invitation, not to run, not to perform, not to fix everything, but to pause. To breathe. To return to the one who already knows everything you're carrying. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment, or the perfect mindset. You just have to be willing to stop for a moment. Turn down the volume of the world. Step outside of the chaos. And listen for the gentle voice of the one who never shouts to be heard, but always speaks in love. The noise will always be there. The world isn't going to quiet itself. But you can. And in doing so, you create space for something holy. Something healing. You create space for God to meet you right where you are. Not in the rush. Not in the stress. But in the quiet. In the stillness. In the peace your soul has been longing for all along. What is quiet time with God? It's a question that can feel intimidating if you've never really practiced it. Or even if you have. But life's noise has made it harder lately. But let's take the pressure off right now. Quiet time with God isn't a performance. It's not a test of how spiritual you are. It's not about how many chapters you read or how well you pray. It's not a box to check off. It's not a ritual to perfect. It's not even about getting something from God. It's about being with Him. Sitting in His presence. Breathing in His peace. Letting your heart speak, and listening for His. Think of it like this. Imagine the dearest friend in your life. Someone who knows you, loves you, and accepts you exactly as you are. Now imagine sitting beside them, not needing to impress, not needing to talk the whole time, just being together. That's what quiet time with God is. A sacred pause. A holy space carved out of the noise of the day, where you get to be fully present with the one who created you. The one who already knows your heart and longs for you to know His. Quiet time doesn't require a perfect setup. It can happen at your kitchen table with a coffee in hand. It can happen in your car before work. It can happen as you sit on your bed with tear-filled eyes, simply whispering His name. It's not about the setting, it's about the surrender. The choice to slow down and say, God, I'm here. I want to be with you. It's in these quiet moments that your heart finds home. It's where your questions can rest, and your faith can rise. It's where you don't have to pretend or perform. You just show up, with your thoughts, your fears, your gratitude, your silence. And God meets you there. Every time. Quiet time with God is where your heart meets His. It's not about getting all the words right. It's about making room. It's about connection. It's about stillness. It's where your soul learns again that you're not alone, and never were. And in that space, healing begins. Peace flows. And you remember who you are, and whose you are. Your soul is tired, and not just in a physical way. There's a deeper weariness that sleep doesn't fix. A kind of exhaustion that comes from constantly running, striving, performing. You wake up and go through the motions, but deep inside, something feels off. There's a restlessness that doesn't go away. And maybe you've tried to fill it with more productivity, more entertainment, more scrolling, more doing, but nothing lasts. Because what your soul truly craves is stillness. You weren't created to live in constant motion. You weren't designed to be pulled in 1,000 directions, juggling every expectation, drowning in noise. Your heart wasn't made to run on empty. It wasn't made to survive off chaos and distraction. It was made to abide, to rest, to breathe deeply in the presence of God. That's where your strength is renewed. That's where your peace is restored. That's where you remember who you are and who He is. Stillness isn't a weakness, it's a necessity. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the one thing your soul truly needs, being with your Creator. We spend so much time trying to stay busy, trying to prove we're enough, trying to control every outcome. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from control. It comes from surrender. And surrender begins in the stillness. When everything around you feels loud and overwhelming, your soul longs for something quieter, deeper, truer. It longs for a place where it doesn't have to perform. A place where it can simply be. And that place is found in God's presence. That's where healing flows. That's where clarity begins. That's where joy comes alive again, not from your circumstances changing, but from your heart being anchored in Him. You might not even realize how hungry your spirit is until you finally stop. Until you breathe. Until you make space for stillness. And in that space, you encounter God. Not just ideas about Him, not just theology or duty, but the real, living presence of the one who made you. The one who sees your exhaustion and gently says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." Your soul is not weak for needing this. It was designed for it. And when you allow yourself to rest in Him, you'll find what you've been searching for all along: peace, purpose, and a deep, unshakable sense of being held. Even Jesus, God in human form, the one who held all power and authority, knew the importance of stepping away. He was constantly surrounded by crowds, constantly met with needs, constantly poured out healing, wisdom, and compassion. But again and again throughout the Gospels, we see Him do something profoundly simple and deeply human. He withdrew. He slipped away from the noise, from the pressure, from the pull of people, and He chose solitude. He chose stillness. He chose time with His Father. Jesus rose early, before the sun crept over the horizon, and went to quiet places to pray. Not because He needed to escape, but because He needed to connect. He didn't run from responsibility. He just refused to carry it alone. He made time, not after everything was done, but before anything else could begin. That was His rhythm. Before miracles, before ministry, before teaching the crowds, Jesus went to be alone with God. If even the Son of God made space for quiet time, how much more do we need it? Not as a religious routine, but as a lifeline. As a way to stay anchored. As a way to remember who we are and why we're here. Jesus didn't go to the Father with a rushed agenda. He went to be filled, to listen, to rest and love. And every time, He came back with clarity, strength, and peace. We often think we're too busy for quiet time. Too overwhelmed. Too tired. But Jesus was busy too. His life was full of interruptions, demands, and people in need. And still, He chose to pause. To step aside. To return to what mattered most. He didn't let the urgent things crowd out the eternal things. And in doing so, He showed us the way. Jesus wasn't looking for silence. He was looking for the Father. That was the source of His strength. That was the well He drew from. That's what sustained Him through temptation, rejection, betrayal, and the cross. And it's what will sustain us too. The invitation to quiet time is not a burden, it's a gift. A sacred rhythm modeled by Jesus Himself. And in following His example, we don't lose time, we find life. We find God. And we find ourselves again. Something shifts when you pause. When you step out of the noise and into the stillness, it's like your soul can finally exhale. The weight you've been carrying, often without even realizing it, begins to loosen. The racing thoughts quiet just enough for you to hear what you've been missing, the gentle voice of God. Not loud, not forceful, but steady, kind, and unmistakably near. In the quiet, God speaks. Not always in words, but in the way peace wraps around you when you slow down. In the way your anxious heart begins to unclench. In the way you suddenly remember, you're not alone. The world may have made you feel invisible, forgotten, overwhelmed, or too much. But when you pause, you realize God has never looked away. He sees you. He knows you. He's been waiting, not with disappointment, but with delight. He's been whispering, "Come to me. I've missed you." Stillness softens your heart. It creates space for you to be honest. Not the version of you that keeps it together for everyone else, but the real, raw, sometimes tired and broken version. And God doesn't flinch. He draws closer. He doesn't rush to fix you. He chooses to be with you. And in that sacred closeness, healing begins, strength returns. Tears fall, and somehow, they feel holy. Because you're not crying alone. You're held. When you pause, you begin to feel again. Not just the hard things, but the beautiful ones too. Gratitude starts to surface. Clarity rises. Hope awakens. You start to notice God's fingerprints all around you, in the quiet breath you take, in the light coming through the window, in the truth that you are deeply loved. This kind of presence isn't found in the rush. It's found when the world fades and God draws near. When you dare to stop long enough to be fully present. And in that moment, you discover something the world could never give, a love that stays. A peace that holds. A God who doesn't need your perfection, only your presence. So pause. Even just for a few moments. Let your soul catch up to your body. Let your spirit be still. Because when you do, you won't just find silence, you'll find God. To meet with God, you don't need to have it all together. You don't need the perfect setting or the perfect words. You don't need to come with a polished prayer or a spiritual checklist. What God desires most is not your performance, but your presence. Not your perfection, but your surrender. Quiet time with God begins when you simply let go. Let go of the schedule that never seems to stop. The mental list of things to do, people to please, problems to solve. For just a moment, let it fall from your hands. Let go of the pressure to be more, to do more, to prove yourself worthy of rest or love. God already knows you. He already sees what you're carrying. He's not asking you to clean it all up before you come to Him. He's just asking you to come. There's something powerful about releasing your grip, on control, on timing, on expectations. When you make space by letting go, you create room for God to enter. You open your heart to receive, not because you've earned it, but because He's always ready to give. And in that open space, you'll find what you didn't even know you were missing: peace, comfort, connection, truth. Letting go is an act of trust. It's saying, God, I believe you'll meet me here. I believe you're enough, even if I feel empty. And the beauty of God's heart is this: He doesn't wait for the perfect version of you to show up. He meets you in your mess. In your doubts. In your weariness. He's not after your productivity. He's after your heart. So take a breath. Loosen your grip. Lay it all down, whatever it is. And in that quiet surrender, you'll discover the sacredness of simply being with Him. No masks. No striving. Just you and God, face to face in the quiet. You don't have to do more. You just have to make space. And the moment you do, you'll find He's already there, ready to fill that space with grace, with rest, and with love that doesn't demand anything but your honest heart. Start small. That's all it takes. You don't need an hour of perfect silence, or a carefully crafted plan. You just need a willing heart and a few quiet moments. Begin with 5 minutes, just 5. Find a quiet corner, a chair by the window, a spot on the floor, or even the front seat of your parked car. Wherever you are, let that space become sacred simply because you've invited God into it. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Let your body settle, and let your mind release its grip on everything that's waiting for you outside this moment. You're not running from your life. You're grounding yourself in what truly matters. And that begins by turning your attention to Him. Open a Bible, or recall a single verse you know by heart. Even one line of scripture can be enough to anchor your soul. Be still and know that I am God. Be still. That's your starting place. Not more striving. Stillness. Let that truth rest over you like a warm blanket. Then speak, simply, honestly. There's no pressure to sound spiritual. God isn't grading your words. You can whisper a sentence or pour out your heart. You can say, God, I'm here. I don't know what to say, but I want to be with you. That alone is a beautiful prayer. And then, listen. Not with your ears, but with your heart. You may not hear anything loud or dramatic. But in the stillness, you'll begin to sense peace. A quiet knowing. A reminder that God is near. That He's listening. That He's enough for this moment, and for everything that comes after it. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just be present. Just show up. That's what God delights in, the heart that seeks Him. Over time, these small moments begin to shape something deeper. Your quiet time becomes a refuge. A reset. A sacred rhythm your soul starts to crave. So today, begin. No matter where you are or how you feel. Start with what you have. A moment. A breath. A verse. A prayer. That's more than enough. Because when you make even a little space for God, He fills it with more than you could ever imagine. You're not wasting time when you pause to be with God. You're not falling behind. You're not being lazy. You're not stepping away from your life. You're stepping into the very heart of it. The world may tell you that stillness is unproductive, that quiet time is a luxury, that rest is for when the work is done. But God says the opposite. Time with Him isn't a delay, it's the foundation. It doesn't slow you down, it grounds you. It doesn't take from your day. It fills it with purpose, peace, and strength you won't find anywhere else. Every quiet moment spent with God is an investment. A seed planted in eternity. You may not always feel the difference right away. It might not show up on a checklist or make headlines in your day. But something sacred is happening beneath the surface. Your soul is being nourished. Your heart is being shaped. Your spirit is being reminded of what's real, what's eternal, what truly matters. When you give God your time, He gives you something far greater in return. He gives you clarity when you're confused, peace when you're anxious, comfort when you're hurting, joy when you feel empty, strength when you're tired. He reorders your thoughts, realigns your heart, and reminds you that you are not alone in this life. You are walking with Him. It's easy to believe the lie that we don't have time. But the truth is, we make time for what matters most. And when you choose to make space for God, even in small, simple ways, you're not losing anything. You're building something eternal. You're anchoring your life in the One who never changes. So don't underestimate the power of 5 quiet minutes. Don't dismiss the strength found in a whispered prayer. Don't let the world convince you that time with God is a break from your life. It is your life. It's where your identity is formed. It's where your burdens are lifted. It's where you find the courage to face whatever comes next. You are not wasting time. You are investing it in the only place that guarantees a return of peace, of joy, of closeness with the God who loves you more than you can comprehend. Every moment with Him matters, and none of it is ever in vain. There will be days when quiet time feels like nothing. Days when you sit in silence, waiting, hoping, listening, and it just feels empty. No stirring. No warmth. No clear word. Just stillness. And in those moments, it's easy to wonder, is this even working? Is God really here? Why does it feel so quiet? But even then, especially then, God is present. Faith isn't built only in the moments when we feel Him clearly. It's built in the quiet persistence of showing up anyway. It's formed in the unseen places, when your heart aches for connection, and you choose to believe He's near, even when your feelings say otherwise. Because feelings come and go, but truth remains. And the truth is, God never leaves you. Not in silence. Not in confusion. Not in the waiting. Sometimes, the quiet is not a sign of God's absence, but an invitation to go deeper. He's not ignoring you. He's holding space for you. He's inviting you to trust Him, not just for what He gives, but for who He is. And even if you feel nothing, Even if all you can offer is your presence and your breath, that is enough. God is not measuring your spiritual life by how emotionally moved you are. He's looking at your heart. He sees the faith it takes to sit with Him in the silence. He sees the courage it takes to return, again and again, even when you're weary, even when you don't have the words. That kind of faith, the faith that keeps showing up, is precious to Him. So if today feels dry, if your heart feels distant, if the silence feels heavy, don't run away. Don't give up. Keep coming. Keep sitting. Keep breathing. Because something holy happens when you stay in the stillness. Roots grow deeper. Trust is forged. Your soul learns to rest not in what it feels, but in who He is. And He is near. Closer than you know. He's in the silence. He's in the waiting. He's in the unseen work happening within your heart. So even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing, show up. Because every quiet moment is building something eternal. And God, in His perfect love, is right there with you. Quiet time isn't just a pause in your day, it's a turning point in your soul. It's where everything begins to shift. Not always on the outside, but deep within. Peace begins here. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. The kind that steadies your heart even when storms keep raging around you. In the quiet with God, that peace rises. It anchors you. Clarity begins here too. In the stillness, your tangled thoughts start to untie. The noise that once drowned out truth begins to fade, and suddenly you can hear again. You hear His voice, not always loud, but clear. You begin to see what matters, what doesn't, and what was never yours to carry in the first place. You start walking not just faster, but wiser, because your steps are guided, not rushed. Strength begins here. Not the strength that runs on adrenaline or sheer willpower, but the strength that comes from being filled, renewed, restored. You may come to God feeling empty, exhausted, unsure, but you leave knowing that you're not alone. You leave carrying something the world cannot give, divine strength that holds you up when everything else is falling down. And the most beautiful thing of all? You change. Your heart softens. Your posture shifts. You're not striving as much, you're resting more. You're not reacting from fear, you're responding from love. The world around you might look the same, but the way you move through it is different. You're rooted, grounded, held. This is what happens when you meet with God in the quiet. It's not just time well spent, it's time that transforms you. Slowly, gently, deeply. You begin to recognize His presence in places you once overlooked. You start to trust His timing, even when you don't understand. You begin to live from a place of connection, not disconnection. Quiet time is not just a spiritual discipline, it's where your heart finds home. A home in His presence. A home in His love. A home where you can always return, no matter how far you've wandered or how much noise surrounds you. And when your heart finds that home, everything changes. So come. Often. Honestly. Quietly. Let God meet you there. Because in that stillness, you won't just find peace, you'll find Him. And in finding Him, you'll find the strength, the clarity, and the hope to keep going, change from the inside out. Slow down. Take a breath. Let your heart settle into this truth. God is not distant. He's not watching you from afar, arms crossed, waiting for you to figure it all out. He's not disappointed in your delay or frustrated by your silence. He's just waiting for you. Not for your perfection. Not for your performance. Just you. Right now, just as you are. In the quiet. In the stillness. In the in-between moments of your day. When the world pulls at you and your heart feels stretched thin, He's there. When you feel unsure, unworthy, or too worn out to pray, He's still there. He hasn't moved. He hasn't changed His mind about you. His love is unwavering. His presence is constant. His invitation is open. You don't need to fix yourself first. You don't need the perfect words. You don't even need to feel strong or ready. You just need to come. Come tired. Come messy. Come uncertain. Come with your questions. Come with your longing. Come with your silence. He can handle it all. He welcomes it all. Because God doesn't just meet you in mountaintop moments. He meets you in the quiet corners of your ordinary life. And in those moments, He reminds you that you are seen. You are valued. You are deeply, eternally loved. You don't have to earn His nearness. You already have it. So don't wait for the perfect moment. This is the moment. This breath. This quiet space. This longing in your heart, it's not random. It's the whisper of a God who's been waiting patiently, lovingly, for you to slow down and come close. He is near. Near to the broken-hearted. Near to the weary. Near to the one who simply says, God, I'm here. And when you come to Him, no matter how quietly, He comes rushing in with peace, with grace, with arms wide open. So come as you are, and meet Him there. He's already waiting.